Universal Creation, Starter God Simulator. Chapter 1 Mutation, Awakening the World Seed. Xianhu of the third class has created a small world of 10 kilometers in the sky, and is being summoned by the principal. TSK, one step to the sky. I heard that the supergroup Imperial Enterprise has thrown an olive branch to him. What is this? 2 days ago, my Wangqing from number 1 middle school opened up the ghost world and can cultivate ghosts. It is said that even the provincial government was alerted, and sent a commissioner to win over, and also rewarded a B-level card. Hey, B-level card. The cheapest resource card costs 10 million, right? It's really worth it. Guangeng number 3 middle school, on the playground. It is centered on an adult-sized stone with a chaotic color. Thousands of students lined up in a line, touching the awakening stones in an orderly manner. Today is the day for the students to awaken the seeds of the world. No one can be calm. Listening to the discussion among the classmates, Su Bai in the crowd had a wry smile. I didn't expect to travel through and come to such a strange world. He is not a person in this world, but a transmigrator. In the 2 years of understanding, Su Bai was surprised to find out. Every time people here reach adulthood, they have an opportunity to awaken the seeds of the world. The watershed of life is now. Su Bai looked up. Even in the daytime, you can vaguely see the stars in the sky. And each star point represents a world. Those who succeed in opening up the world can become creators, dominate a world, cultivate power, and ascend to the sky in one step. It is highly valued by schools and the country, and a large number of resources are tilted. Those who fail will fall into the quagmire and cannot get up again in their lifetime. Advertisement: the best thing is to be a steward for other world lords. You even have to sign a master-servant contract, and let your employer rule you for the rest of your life. Now it reflects the strength of a country, not just military strength. It's the number of creators they have. 200 years ago, the world was in great turmoil, and from the depths of the universe, an outer god invaded. Each star in the chaotic starry sky above the head contrasts with the world and planet of each creator. They formed the first line of defense against the outer gods. With the help of the world, you can salvage various resources and treasures in the starry sky. Hundreds of tons of meteorites, fossils of strange cosmic creatures, evolutionary pool water full of spiritual fluids, solid and immortal metals. Even a new life planet. These are only the creators are qualified to contact. At this time, the students who awakened first have returned one by one. Many female classmates who failed to wake up cried together. Suddenly, there was a commotion ahead. Look, Kailan Xiu has successfully awakened. It's the most popular aura world, with a distance of 20 kilometers. Hey, this potential is 10 times higher than that of Xianhu. I'm afraid it is the number 1 in the school, right? There was a commotion in the crowd, and the students rioted. Even the teachers in the stands were disturbed, and the head teacher, Mr. Li, walked off the stage excitedly. He was talking to a young girl with a ponytail, a beautiful face and frosty skin. She is the squad leader of Su Bai's class, Kailan Xiu. The pretty little face couldn't hide the excitement, and was following the head teacher to the principal's room. Along the way, the students automatically give way. Many familiar female classmates watched Kailan Xiu leave with complicated expressions. There was envy in his eyes, and a hint of jealousy. They know that from today onwards, the two sides will have different lives. She actually succeeded. Su Bai was also surprised. Speaking of which, the squad leader is still at the same table by himself, laughing and playing on weekdays, and the relationship is very good. I also often grabbed her, and made her cry a few times. Seemingly aware of his gaze, Kailansu's ponytail fluttered. Turning his head, he raised a small pink fist towards Subai and threatened a few times. Full of playfulness and cuteness. Subai shook his head helplessly. Subai stepped forward. The next moment, the teacher called the name. Subai stepped forward and took a deep breath. Step forward and put your hand on the chaos stone. I closed my eyes. Like an electric shock. The touch from the fingertips activates the whole brain. Subai's consciousness was separated from his body. The mind is like the singularity of the Big Bang, which suddenly explodes. At the same time, a new star was born in the chaotic starry sky. As if the kingdom of God had opened up, a grey world appeared in his mind. This is a world projection, and the real world is in the starry sky. Is growing rapidly. Am I successful? Subai's heart moved, and he quickly restrained his mind according to the knowledge in the textbook. Perceive the stars in the dark and open up your own world. Absorb the cosmic energy and maximize the size and potential of the newborn stars. The new world, the first birth, is the gift of the universe. How much energy this world can absorb and how much world it can open up means future potential. Has anyone in the first class awakened successfully? On the high platform, a supervising teacher cast his eyes. This year's graduates have a high awakening success rate, the best in a decade. And Subai, who was awakening, suddenly heard a mechanical voice. Awakening, your world is absorbing cosmic energy and expanding, according to their own attributes, absorbing energy, and the right time and place, they are transforming world attributes and camps. Come on, the main event is coming. Subai's heart tightened and he held his breath. Everyone's world is different. The most common mundane world is not even comparable to the actual technological level. But if it is converted into low-level energy internal force, even the mid-level true Qi and Du Qi have already surpassed 99% of the people. If it can be transformed into high-level aura and magic power upon awakening, it will be a step up to the sky, and even the country will be a sensation. Not only are there major official rewards, but major groups and companies will win over at all costs. Just as Subai's nervous awakening world, a mutation suddenly occurs. Chapter 2 God Simulator activated. Originally, the world opened up in my mind, crazy swallowing cosmic energy, gradually transformed into the most elementary heaven round place. 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. Watching the area continue to expand, Subai was overjoyed. This represents future potential. Even the soil and world barriers have been strengthened. But this time, the small world seems to have broken a hole, and the energy is vented out. The area that was originally growing is shrinking. What happened? Subai's head was shocked. Haven't seen this scene before. Just when he was puzzled, a heavenly sound appeared in his ears. The host has successfully opened up the world, and the God Simulator is officially activated. The energy required for activation is being absorbed. It's the culprit. Subai watched the small world shrink to the lowest level of 1 kilometer, his eyes were straight. Quickly asked, God Simulator, what's the use? Stop smoking, the small world is about to be sucked dry. Seemingly aware of the instability of the small world, the swallowing force stopped. The God Simulator is to give the host the authority of God, which can be simulated and trial and error for an unlimited number of times. Manage the world, develop power and civilization. At present, the initial awakening can be loaded with talents and different resources in each simulation. In the future, you can absorb extraordinary energy and unlock more functions. For more details, please explore the host by yourself. Emulator. Su-Bai knew a little about it before crossing, and after listening to the introduction of the God Simulator, it is even more eye-catching. The energy absorbed is all worth it. The most fearful thing about creating a world and running a world is that something goes wrong there or encounters an enemy in the starry sky. Once it is scrapped, there is no chance to even save it. But with a God Simulator, you have countless opportunities for trial and error. Not to mention there are other unlocked features. Just when Su-Bai wanted to continue his research, the awakening stone in his hand has already emitted a flash of light. One class, Su-Bai awakened successfully. The supervising teacher spoke in time, and did not wait for the students to make noise. He announced strangely, awakening the world, 1 kilometer. The students who were originally envious and jealous were in an uproar. This awakens a ball. The lowest level of the world, I am afraid that even life can't be born. There can't be an energy cycle in the world. Don't talk about hunting in the chaotic starry sky, I guess it will fall apart after being blown by a cosmic storm. Rather than awakening such a tasteless rib, I would rather be a housekeeper for others. Many students sound harsh, as if seeking psychological balance. In the past, the successful awakening was high above. Now that I have finally caught a weak chicken, of course my psychological grievances must be vented. The company recruiters on the side were originally smiling, and they planned to come to negotiate conditions. After listening to the teacher's broadcast, he sneered. That's it. Without the slightest training potential, I'm afraid it's not even qualified to be a ranch or pigsty. I don't think it can last for a week, and the 1 kilometer world will collapse. The initial size represents the future potential. No wonder they have such an attitude. There was even a staff member who was arrogant and handed a business card. In my opinion, your awakened world has no potential. Before it collapses, sell it for a good price. Our Xinghai company specializes in acquiring abandoned worlds and recycling them for seed players to devour. Is 100,000 yuan enough? An ordinary working class earns 50,000 a year. Want to buy a world for 100,000? I am afraid that 0.1 kilometers of territory is not enough. Su-Bai smiled, and after taking the business card, he tore it with his fingers, throwing it directly in the face of the staff. Fragments of business cards fell on the staff's astonished faces like snowflakes. Even if it is a newly awakened world lord, you are not something you can ridicule. After saying that, he turned around and left. Several company representatives were left with embarrassed expressions. Others don't know, Su-Bai himself doesn't know. If it weren't for a simulator awakening and swallowing too much energy, his world would not be just the current size. And with the God Simulator, he has absolute confidence and rises in the starry sky. By convention, every student who has successfully awakened can receive initial funding from the school. Outstanding leaders such as Zhang Hu and Kai Lanxiu were personally summoned by the principal and awarded various resources. But Su-Bai, judging from the potential he has shown so far, it was Mr. Li, the head teacher, who summoned him. She said with a slight headache, to be honest, it's a good thing to wake up. But the world you awakened is the weakest. If you don't invest a lot of resources, you won't be able to last long, and you will be assimilated by the universe. There are currently limited grants available to you. Su Bai was non-committal. Teacher Lee hesitated for a while. With the flip of the fingertips, a full-body purple card appeared in his hand. This is the most basic D-level climate card, used in the world, to drop 10 tons of rainwater containing organic matter. This is the best help I can give within my current authority. Su Bai reached out and took the card, only to see the dark sky in the background on the card, and the pea-sized rain was pouring down. The style of the painting is clear, the rain splashing on the ground can be clearly seen, and there is a line of small characters at the bottom. Note, the highest good is like water, and water is good for all things without fighting. Thanks. Su Bai smiled and put it away. Cards are the condensation of law fragments. Even this cheapest Class D card has a market price of 100,000. Seeing that Su Bai was in a good mood, Teacher Lee reminded, of course you are not hopeless, the college entrance examination in 7 days will be your only chance. Chapter 3 Entering the chaotic starry sky, a world collapses. As far as Su Bai knows, people who have successfully awakened over the years. They will take part in the simulated college entrance examination to study Starry Sky University. All world main games. Borrow the world projection and send your soldiers and creatures to fight the enemy. Its rewards are rich, and the school alone has tens of millions of financial rewards, and the state and local governments are not stingy. Various strategic resources, breeding cards, race cards, and even S-rank cards are available. A gleam of light flashed in Su Bai's eyes, which was indeed the best chance to make up for his innate deficiencies. He wanted to experiment with the effect of the God Simulator as soon as possible, and hurriedly bid farewell to the head teacher. Unexpectedly, when he walked out of the classroom, he happened to meet Kai Lan Xiu and walked out of the principal's room. Next to her was a rough-looking, bronze-skinned male student. The male student seems to be deliberately approaching Kai Lan Xiu. There was a hint of impatience on Kai Lan Xiu's face, and her eyes lit up after seeing Su Bai. He quickly trotted up and said happily, "I heard that you also successfully awakened the world, congratulations." Reluctantly, "I'm still behind you for the time being." Su Bai replied with a slightly upturned mouth. Seeing that the two were chatting happily, the male classmate frowned and asked, "This classmate, are you also in the first class? Are you Zhang Hu from class 3? A strange color flashed in Su Bai's eyes. Seeming to think of something, Zhang Hu laughed dumbly. "Aren't you the one Su Bai who awakened the weakest world? I can see the potential of a lifetime now. Then my world is twice your size." "Is it twice your size for a lifetime?" Kai Lan Sucheng wrinkled her nose slightly, took Su Bai's hand and left. In the principal's office after Zhang Hu learned about her awakening results. Some courtesies made her sick. Now that she is rude, she naturally doesn't have a good face. Seeing the backs of the two of them getting away intimately, Zhang Hu looked embarrassed. "Little white face, let me see how you will pass the college entrance examination in 7 days." Sometimes, seeing hope and then shattering it again is the most cruel. Due to the limited number of people in each class, the scope of the college entrance examination is first from the school, then to the urban area and so on. Zhang Hu has absolute confidence, crushing the little white face in the school competition. Beauty is only for the strong. On the way home, the class leader carefully comforted him, awakening the world is only the first step. There is still a long way to go. Su Bai laughed and said to himself, "If you can successfully awaken, you have already surpassed 99.9% of people. The class leader doesn't have to worry about me, but he has to prepare for the college entrance examination in 7 days. If the grades are good enough, entering the top 10 famous schools is much stronger than joining any super consortium. Seeing that he was not discouraged, Kai Lan Xiu smiled. It's good if you have this heart. By the way, is the reward you just got from the school this card? When Kai Lan Xiu flipped her fingers, a card with a grey sheen and a black land on the card appeared. Black soil card, sea level card, after use, can affect the land within 10 kilometers, increase organic matter, fertilizers, etc. It is the novice world master, the best initial help. There is also a small line at the bottom of the card. Note, the 9-story platform starts from the tired soil. Forehead. The difference is really big. I am the most rubbish Class D card. The squad leader's card is worth 50 times as much as the rain card. Su Bai let out a ha-ha, and was in a hurry to go back to experiment. I'll be busy next time. See you at school in 7 days. I'll let you see my world at that time. The squad leader smiled and waved his hand, saying goodbye. Okay, then I will be ashamed and return everything you bullied me before. Trot all the way home. The house where Su Bai lives is a resettlement house. 2 years ago, I crossed here, and the beginning was the death of both parents. If it weren't for the huge pension in the bank card, I wouldn't even be able to survive. He did it himself, placed a bowl of noodles, and luxuriously added an egg to himself. The dinner problem was solved in a hurry. The hard days will be gone forever from tonight. Su Bai made up his mind secretly. He sat upright on the bed, his consciousness immersed in his mind. The next moment, it was like a soul out of body. When I opened my eyes again, I saw a dark, chaotic, starry sky in front of me. Scattered dots of light symbolize small worlds. Before Su Bai could feel the magnificence of the universe, a flash of light that cut through the starry sky suddenly flashed in front of Su Bai's eyes. It turned out to be a shooting star. Do not. Only when Su Bai opened his eyes did he realize that it turned out to be a small world that had just fallen. Its world barrier shattered, land fragments, rivers tilted, and countless corpses fell from the fallen world. In the silent starry sky, it looks particularly poignant. As soon as he came over, he saw a world fall, and Su Bai's expression was complicated. Without the protection of the mother star, he is no better than a baby who has just been born. The meteors keep falling. There are also strands of amber light flying out, adhering to the similar attributes, and gradually condensed into cards. Witnessing the birth of the card with his own eyes made Su Bai a little sigh. I heard long ago that there are treasures everywhere in the chaotic starry sky. If you are lucky, you will have the destruction of the world next to you, and you will be able to make a fortune, wantonly plundering the wealth of a world. And the card is the condensation of the law. What high-level divine card will be born from the collapse of the whole world? Su Bai only hated himself for being late and lacking in strength. Otherwise, be sure to pick up the leaks in front of you. The most unfortunate thing is when the fallen world passes by. The closest moment between the two cannot be used. He vaguely saw that around the meteor, there were small black dots approaching. It can be seen from such a distance, at least it is a super battleship, an island-level war fortress. Before he could take his eyes back, a clear voice suddenly sounded in his mind. The God Simulator started itself. Chapter 4 S-Rank Card Doomsday Calamity, Call of Xhulhu. Ding. Aware of the leaked laws and fragments of the origin of the world, the God Simulator is trying its best to absorb it. The world under Su Bai's feet is only 1 kilometer, square, with a grey body, showing a round sky. Surrounded by seawater, there is a thin layer of world barrier above. It looks not far from the meteor, but it is actually a world of difference. This is not only in space, but also in time, and even higher dimensions. It is not a world of one level, and it is difficult to even approach. Even the small world will be caught and swallowed by the gravitational force of the big world. The world has also fallen, and it has descended to the lowest level where Su-bai is. He looked enviously at the shooting star passing by in front of him. But at this time, Su-bai's mind seemed to be like a black hole, swallowing the fragments of the law. What's going on? Someone snatch it. The means are very clever, and he is proficient in the way of space. Don't worry, this is the fifth order Hulk planet. It's a pity to save a little bit, but it's a pity for the creatures and warriors of the entire world. Hey, Hao Yu himself was also attacked by the Zerg, and he didn't even have time to ask for help. The bows next to the meteors are peculiar in shape, and there are several thoughts from the extraordinarily huge battleship. The world is destroyed, and all the creatures that live in it will die. The defense line in the human starry sky lacks another key node. This is a loss for all mankind. Su-bai is working on a god simulator. After a lot of tossing, until the meteor was nowhere to be seen. Only then did he hear the system beep again. A small part of the world fragment has been swallowed, the charging is completed, 10 simulated talent extractions, and an orange talent is guaranteed. Good guy. Su-bai called him a good guy. He didn't expect the simulator to keep pace with the times and have a guarantee. Just when he thought it was over, a space ripple flashed in front of him, and a golden card suddenly appeared in front of him. He raised his hand and grabbed it decisively. Part of the intercepted law has been condensed into a card, please check it. Su-bai was shocked, staring at the gold card, and a line of small light blue introduction appeared. Doomsday Calamity Card, name, Doomsday Calamity Card, class, S grade, category, Special Energy Card, effect, after use, you can add Doomsday Calamity and Doomsday Law to your world. Accelerate the decay of the world and the death of creatures, and enter a state similar to the 5 declines of heaven and man, and the annihilation of the world. Introduction: it is the condensed law of negative emotions and pollution such as doomsday, disaster, and despair after a world is destroyed. Attributes are extremely rare and can be put into your own world to speed up harvesting. It can also be used as a magic trap card and applied to other people's worlds. F***K. It's an S card. Su-bai was stunned at first, but after reacting, he called out the bullpen. Unexpectedly, as soon as I entered the starry sky, the universe gave me this gift. A Class B card requires tens of millions of blue star coins. If the effect is special, there may even be hundreds of millions. The school subsidizes the most basic C and D grades, and already has a toothache, not to mention an S-grade treasure card. It is estimated that the consortiums are willing to bid 1 billion. After checking the effect, Su-bai frowned. Is this a debuff card? His breath almost didn't come up. Doomsday, disaster, despair, no matter how you look at it, it is not a good thing. This thing added to his own world, I'm afraid not to die. Su-bai looked down at his 1-acre land, very melancholy. There is a saying that even a piece of shit has its uses. No matter how bad it is, it can also be used as a magic card. See who is unhappy, and give him some fertilizer. Su-bai comforted himself and carefully took the Doomsday Calamity card into his arms. Meanwhile, open the God Simulator. A black word appeared in front of him. Are you sure to start your journey of God's creation? Please note that each simulation requires 100 creation points. The bigger the world is, the more creation points are required. The total accumulated creation value at present, 2,000 points. Sure enough, there is no free lunch, only 20 chances to simulate. No, if there is an accident in the middle, and the subsequent simulation requires more creation value, it is estimated that there will not be even 15 chances. Su Bai's heart sank, and he said decisively, "Begin creation." Following the order, Su Bai suddenly saw a cosmic explosion in front of him. Infinite light and heat burst forth, the cosmic singularity appears. If it is said that he entered the high-dimensional chaotic starry sky with consciousness before, at this time, the state is mysterious, and it is impossible to figure it out. A line of small words appeared again on the simulation panel: open 10 consecutive drawers. You can carry 3 talents in each creation. Su Bai consciousness clicks. The next moment, a dazzling array of 10 talents appeared in front of him. Giant beast bonus, white; civilization inspiration, blue; crazy killing, blue. Most are ordinary. The talent levels from high to low are gold, orange, purple, blue, and white. The 10 consecutive draws that he guaranteed the bottom of, and an orange that must be drawn, gave Su Bai confidence. What made him smile bitterly was that the only purple talent in the first wave was the Call of Xulhu. Call of Xulhu, purple talent, enhance the law and talent of the world's supernatural direction. It makes the creature more likely to hear the profound knowledge of the universe and greatly promotes the aberration of the creature. There is even an extremely small chance of mutating into an indescribable extraordinary creature. From the positive effect alone, it is equivalent to the orange talent. However, its negative effects are -10 to sanity and +20 to madness, which can easily make creatures chaotic and crazy, and their evolution grows crooked. Chapter 5: The First Creation Simulation, the Birth of Cellular Organisms. Although Xulhu's negative effects are great, Su Bai still chooses to carry it. Anyway, the first wave of simulations is based on trial and error. After some thought, the other 2 talents have also been selected. Civilization Enlightenment, blue; wisdom +3, which can make creatures use tools faster and increase brain development. Source of life, blue; vitality +3, making the barren world give birth to creatures faster, and enhancing fertility and survivability. The talent selection is complete. Start the simulation. After Su Bai was confirmed, there was another cloud of mist in front of him. Lines of text appear in front of you. Start the journey of creation. I checked the D-Class Rain card and S-Class Doomsday card that you are carrying. Do you want to carry it? Note: if you carry items and simulate cards, you will consume more creation value. The creation value of the D-level card needs to consume 1 more point, and the S-level card needs to consume 100 points. Can you still carry items to simulate? Su Bai was a little surprised, but the cost of carrying an S card was too high, and he could simulate a creation. He didn't choose any of the 2 cards, and he wanted to experiment with the normal creation of the world. Do not carry any supplies, you are simulating. Opening up the world, you awakened the world, and the Tianyuan world was born, but there were a million little accidents, so that the Earth was only 1 kilometer, which was a bit congenital. Early stage of the first era, the initial world is a wasteland, and only the starlight across the universe proves that time is still flowing. Middle of the first era, I don't know how much time has passed, and you feel extremely bored. The late first era, under the erosion of endless years, at the end of chaos. Single-celled organisms were born in the sea, and they clustered together on the coast. It's called primordium. Ding. The birth of a single-celled creature for the first time, creation value +10. Note, the first birth of each type of creature is rewarded. Seeing this, Su Bai was shocked. It's finally here, and the time span is huge. In the final analysis, the site is too small. Early part of the Second Era, you observed that in addition to the primordium, other single-celled organisms yeast and paramcia were born in turn. The innate source of life is activated, and the creatures begin to multiply on a large scale. Middle of the Second Era, a variety of single-celled organisms gathered to form the first multicellular organism, the floating wave larva. Creation value +20. The floating wave larvae live in the offshore area, and the enlightenment of the Talent civilization takes effect. They try to climb ashore. Late Second Era, plank larvae's plan to expand to land is temporarily blocked, and they have not evolved organs that can breathe on land. The floating wave larvae try to expand the range of the race, devour unicellular organisms, and multiply the race. At the end of the Second Era, the floating larvae destroyed the already small biosphere, causing a large number of single-celled organisms to wither, and the primordial bacteria, yeast and other organisms went extinct one by one. The ocean, which is a little bit alive, is dead again, losing its food source, and the plank larvae that lose the basic single-celled organisms to regulate the ocean environment die one by one, until they become extinct. Tianhuange's potential is exhausted, and all creatures in the world die. The world barrier is broken, cosmic radiation, energy invasion. Tianhuan realm is destroyed. This creation simulation is over. Surviving 2 epochs, the total value of creation, 30 points, no intelligent creatures, no civilization is born. It collapsed before it even persisted for 2 epochs. The foundation is too shallow. Su Bai sighed for a while. All in all, the first simulation lost 70 creation points. Just when he thought it was all over, another line of words appeared in front of him. You can choose from the following 3 to keep the next item. Single-celled organism Primarchbacterium, single-celled organism Paramecium, multicellular organism plank larva, anything like this. Su Bai thought for a moment. The primordial fungus is the first creature in the world, and it is the source of all things. It took an epoch to be born by chance. Various evolutions of creatures in the future will have its shadow. If it is born earlier next time, it can save an era of development time. Paramecium represents the culmination of single cells, with extremely perfect fecundity and viability, and it can be called a pentagonal creature. It's the strongest single-celled organism. As for the floating wave larva, it is needless to say, the strongest creature in this simulation. That's why I choose Ecomycosis. Simulated harvest selected. Among the 3 talents, you can temporarily solidify one for the next simulation. Su Bai didn't need to think much, and decisively solidified Xhalhu's call. Although the first simulation, its effect has not yet taken effect, but it does not mean that it is useless. The other 2 blue talents have extremely popular effects and are very replaceable. Cooling period 20 minutes. To Su Bai's surprise, the emulator also has a cooldown period. Advertisement: in this way, the cooling period of an era is 10 minutes in reality. He frowned suddenly. Reminds me of the introduction of God Simulator, which mentioned that there is a chance to solidify talent once a day. He quickly quit the simulation and returned to reality. Getting up from the bed, Su Bai hurriedly turned on his phone to check. The 25th of June, 2077, 1807 in the evening, it's getting dark so soon. Looking at the dim sky beside the bed, his heart sank. There was a sense of urgency. With 7 hours left, how many simulations can I do? If you don't get a good talent, isn't it a waste of a day's opportunity? After 7 days, it's the college entrance examination. Just waiting for that wave of blockbuster, big blood, do not miss it. Subai thought for a moment. Which of the world management and creation simulation does not require massive resources? The first simulation wasted so much time and the fault tolerance was extremely low, and it said it all. I hope to get the guaranteed orange talent before 12 o'clock. Su Zheng made up his mind and took out the D-level climate card. Chapter 6: The birth of the first generation of overlords, the advent of the Cambrian explosion, seeking flowers, evaluation tickets, previous chapter. Next chapter: advertisement. After the first simulation, only 1930 was left. Subai picked up a ballpoint pen. Record the results in a notebook and summarize the experience. It is difficult for a clever woman to cook without rice. The origin of the world is so small, and if something goes wrong, it will be destroyed. Not to mention that after developing and growing, go to Xinghai to hunt for treasures. Subai had a bit of a headache, feeling the dilemma of the beginning. In fact, after many people have successfully awakened the world, they will choose to join a major force. Get their investment. Even teams of thousands of people use development plans given by computers. But everything is not free. This also means that the control of the own world must be given up. What's more, there is a super consortium that uses the power to deprive the world lord of his authority. Own the birth world. Such doves occupying magpie nests are not uncommon in the news. The best option is to join the official camp, get school aid, and local government cultivation. At present, what Subai lacks the most is resources. If after 7 days, you don't have good grades, get a reward and go to a good university. Innate, it is 100 times behind others. One step behind, one step behind. After Subai's impatient wait, 20 minutes finally passed. Ding dong. God simulator has finished cooling down. Subai was shocked and summoned the simulator from his mind. Decisive, start the simulation. A line of text appeared before him. Open 10 consecutive drawers. Another 10 talents with different attributes emerged, one of which was temporarily solidified, Call of Xulhu. Unfortunately for Subai, the guaranteed orange talent has not yet appeared. But the surprise is that in addition to Xulhu, there is another new purple talent. After selecting the 3 talents, Subai simulated again. Tao Tai Devouring, purple. It is even more precious to strengthen the devouring ability of creatures. During devouring, there is a small chance of acquiring the talent of prey. Life reproduction, blue. It greatly increases the biological fecundity and the survival rate. Subai chose very carefully. One guarantees immortality and one guarantees future potential. After selecting, do you want to bring 2 cards? This time Subai chose to carry a card. Have carried a D-level climate card. Start the journey of creation, open the world, God Subai awakens the world. Tianhuanji was born. Early part of the first era, you said that there would be rain, so there was a heavy rainstorm, and 10 tons of rainwater containing organic matter fell into the ocean, bringing life to the world. Activate the climate card, you put in ecomycosis, and they multiply in the ocean. Innate life reproduction starts. Middle of the first era, There are all kinds of single-celled organisms in the ocean, and planktonic larvae, flagellates, and flatworms of multicellular organisms are born in turn. The ocean is lively, the talent gluttonous devouring is activated, and the creatures devour each other and continue to strengthen. You have observed a kind of bug that has evolved teeth and digestive organs, and has a length of 50 centimeters. It continuously defeats enemies, devours other creatures, and dominates the ocean. The first generation overlord devouring insect was born, and the 5-kilometer sea area was ruled. Reward creation value plus 40. Sure enough, investing resources in advance is totally worth it and saves a lot of time. Seeing that an epoch has not yet come, Subai has already reached this step, and Subai is overjoyed. The text continues to swipe. Late First Era, devouring insect ocean is invincible, trying to land. Landed successfully. At present, there are more than 200 species of biological species in the Tianyiwan realm. The biological throughput and absorption of cosmic energy increases the source of the world, and the area of land and ocean increases. The ratio of the two is 1:4. In your world, the diameter of the land has increased to 2 kilometers, and the ocean has increased to 10 kilometers. Reward creation value plus 50. The world has grown bigger, and the potential has grown. Subai muttered to himself, at least this wave will not lose money. The more and stronger the creatures are, the stronger the feedback world is. In his sight, Tianyiwan realm is like a newborn baby. The creatures living on it are like human organs. The stronger the organs, the more cosmic energy they can handle, and naturally they grow up. Early part of the Second Era, with the landing of marine life, angiosperms were gradually born on the land, and the land was no longer monotonous. Due to the continuous photosynthesis of aquatic plants, the oxygen content in the air increases, the intelligence of the creatures is obviously enhanced, and the physique is stronger. Tianyiwan realm gradually grows larger, after the accumulation is deep enough. Induced a great outburst period. Recorded as, the Cambrian explosion. Corals, trilobites, and even the original vertebrate jawed fish were born in turn, and the total number of creatures exceeded 1,000. The land area of Tianyiwanji has grown to 3.5 kilometers. Various rewards are superimposed, creation value plus 200. Back to the original. This wave of blood earned. Subai looked at the mock text and was overjoyed. I didn't expect the second simulation to have the Cambrian eruption so early. Coupled with the birth of various species, feedback to the world, one wave will eat fat. Sure enough, every resource invested in the early days was precious. Two of these talents also played a crucial role. He continued to watch. Unexpectedly, in the middle of the Second Era, there were hundreds of millions of small accidents. The creatures that multiply enough activate another talent, and the call of Xhulhu is activated. In the ocean, for some reason, the creatures fell into madness and began to kill each other, blood-staining the sea. On land, the vertebrates and even the angiosperms that landed in the early days also mutated. There is a large purple flower full of fangs, which aggressively occupies the land and gnaws at other creatures. This is a deformed creature, the corpse flower. In the Sea of Distortion, a worm has evolved a pair of giant eyes with handles and a pair of segmented giant forelimbs to defeat the first-generation overlord devouring worm. This is the second-generation overlord, the strange shrimp of distortion. Two unknown creatures reward creation value plus 80. Really effective. But the premise is that there must be a certain biological base, otherwise it will not be activated. Seeing Xulhu's call take effect, Su Bai smiled. As expected, the positive effect is no less than that of the orange talent, and it surprises me as soon as it comes. But soon, he couldn't smile anymore. Middle of the Second Era, under the impetus of the Whispers, the two generations of overlords, the strange shrimp and the corpse flower fought a bloody battle. Chapter 7 Zombie Virus, a simulation of extreme roots. Chi shrimp and corpse flower are in a frenzy during the battle. With the extinction of major creatures, the world has gradually become silent. The world barrier becomes weaker, and more cosmic knowledge is poured into it. The two overlords died of food shortages and lack of mental energy to withstand the installation of knowledge. Tia Niwanji has fallen into silence. This simulation is over. Total creature types, 1,150 species, harvesting 290 creation points. The land of Tia Niwanji has grown to 5 kilometers. This time, there are 2 epochs in total, and the cooling period is 15 minutes. Looking at the text in front of him, Su Bai sighed a little. Success is Xulhu, and defeat is Xulhu. If it doesn't interfere with it, what will happen? Su Bai was a little curious. Isn't the existence of the simulator the limitless trial and error? Others run the world carefully, lest something go wrong and the world explodes. However, you can open up your own reforms, and if you can't, start all over again. It may be over by the middle of the Second Era, and even the cool-down period will be shortened. While thinking about it, another line of text appeared. Select from the following to keep the next item. Emperoral fungus, angiosperm seeds, phagocytosis, strange shrimp, corpse flower. This time around, the choices are much richer. However, Su Bai found 2 mutant overlord creatures at a glance. One of them symbolizes marine life and the other symbolizes land plants. It itself represents the extremes of one aspect. I choose the odd shrimp. Su Bai made a decision. But the temporary solidified talent after that gave him a bit of a headache. Xulhu's plugin is easy to use, but it's too easy to die. On the contrary, gluttonous devouring is more stable, and it can also gather the advantages of creatures, making them perfect creatures long ago. However, its positive and negative effects have the degree of orange talent. This time the harvest is so big, and it also plays a key role. Try it again. If it doesn't work, replace it decisively. Su Bai weighed the pros and cons and chose to keep call of Xulhu. In fact, in his heart, what he hopes more is the orange talent with 10 consecutive guarantees. Su Bai glanced at it, and the Genesis value displayed by the simulator was 2109. It is mainly the rewards brought by the Cambrian life explosion, which should be gone next time. On the contrary, the Tianiwan realm has grown to 5 kilometers, which is regarded as the standard level of ordinary awakened people. As for the 10 kilometers similar to Xianghu, it is already a leader in the campus. Squad leader Kailan Su's 20 kilometers is only a few in one session. If you awaken a special world and energy, you will be recommended to the top 10-star universities. Shaking his head, Su Bai didn't think about it. Consciousness returns to reality. He was surprised to find that his body had been strengthened by 1 point. The originally loose muscles were solidified, and the lung capacity was also enhanced. After a test, I can lift 50 kilograms with one hand. I have heard for a long time that the origin of the world has grown, and the creator who can feedback has become stronger. According to normal development, the world slowly processes cosmic energy, creatures operate slowly, and the world master evolves slowly. But I have an emulator and can rise as fast as I can. The corners of Subai's mouth turned up. The only pity is that this should be a one-off. And start the next simulation, and start from 1 kilometer again. I don't know when the world size in the simulation will be preserved. Subai guessed that God's simulator should have this feature. Just not unlocked yet. Otherwise, it will not be explained. The larger the world area, the more Genesis value is required. The second harvest is too big. Subai calmed down for 15 minutes until he heard the reminder again. Ding dong, the cooling off period is over. Continue the simulation. Subai's consciousness sank again. The text flickered in front of him. I hope the guaranteed talent will appear soon. In his trepidation, he clicked the 10 consecutive draws. Immediately in front of him, there are talents like smoke. Subai took a quick glance, feeling a little lost, still no orange talent. But the surprise is that this time there is also a purple talent. It is stronger than gluttonous devouring, and even better, it has a complementary effect with the call of Xhalhu. Zombie virus, purple, you will put a biochemical virus into the world, which will make the creatures demonize, greatly increase their strength and spirit, but the negative effect will be a decrease in reason and wisdom. The chance of a civilization being born is reduced. If paired with other talents with the same attributes, there may be wonderful chemical reactions. Crazy killing, blue, by killing creatures, they can gain a certain amount of experience, which makes it easier to strengthen and evolve themselves. Anyway, they are already crazy, so they take the extreme route. Xhalhu, let me see where your limits are. Subai was bold this time. He walked very aggressively. If it was created by the real body, he could not be so bold. But this is a simulation. Soon he started a third simulation. Does it carry cards? With a climate card. Subai hesitated a little, but still didn't use the S card, the main price was too high. Wait for the creation value to accumulate more points and then experiment. Start the journey of creation, breakthrough, God Subai awakens. Tianiwanji was born. Early part of the first era, you said there would be rain, so a heavy rain fell in the sky, but no one expected that this heavy rain would bring life to the ocean. And viruses and madness. The climate card is activated, and the talent zombie virus takes effect. It will take effect so soon. Subai was a little surprised, realizing that this simulation could be extraordinary. Middle of the first era, the cyanobacteria in the ocean mutate into blood algae, and the sea is filled with a layer of blood. The born trilobites, jawed fish and other creatures fell into madness and began to kill each other, but among them, the odd shrimp harvested the most and gradually dominated the ocean. Innate crazy killing is activated. Late first era, you were surprised to find that the ocean turned into a sea of blood. The old overlord Chi shrimp did not have the last laugh. An octopus-like monster with tentacles on its body is more adaptable to cosmic knowledge. This creature called the Dark Octopus actually maintains a trace of reason in the ravings and learns to use tricks. Slowly develop in the corners of the seabed, start with weak fish creatures, strengthen the group, and avoid the encirclement and suppression of strange shrimps. Negative or positive? Subai is a little surprised. When the whole world is in a frenzy, there are creatures who can stay sane. So rare. What's even more surprising is that Tianiwan realm has expanded to 8 kilometers without knowing it. This is not an epoch. It seems that the adaptability of each creature is different, and the octopus is more adaptable to Xhalhu's ravings. He lowered his heart and continued to watch. Chapter 8: The Evolution of the World, the Birth of Extraordinary Creatures, and the Mechanical Chaunts. At the end of the first era, the dark octopus rises and collides with the strange shrimp head-on. Use your wisdom to outflank them, borrow terrain, hide in caves, and defeat the enemy. Dark octopus annihilates the strange shrimp and becomes the new overlord. After dominating the ocean, they use the knowledge whispered in their ears to try to actively devour the energy of the world and try to land on land. The land grows to 9 kilometers. Early part of the second era, the dark octopuses landed successfully. Their tentacles were flexible and powerful, they evolved the organs of terrestrial breathing, and they learned the importance of tools from the knowledge gained from the universe. There may be surprises this time. Subai muttered to himself. Sure enough, the next text will have an achievement across the ages. The land area has increased to 10 kilometers. Breaking the boundaries, reaching the critical point, can solidify the world area. Is it cured? Subai said without hesitation, cure. Successful curing. Next simulation, start with 10 kilometers. As he expected, God Simulator really has this function. It feels like a save file in a game. After breaking through a certain limit, you can save it and use it next time. Subai thought, I just don't know how big the next curing area will be, 20 kilometers, or 100 kilometers. The simulation continues, and this time the extreme test is surprising. Did not die so early. A new overlord is born, the world heritage is increased, and the comprehensive reward creation value, 200 points. Because of being trapped by instinct, the dark octopus is afraid of flames, and its development is slightly stagnant. It seems that he noticed that a group of little guys listened to his words again, and a strange wave came from the deep space of the universe. The next simulation fell into a stagnation period, and the biggest enemy of the octopus that dominated both land and sea was himself. They try to use tools, which is bound to be a long process. Via the text in the mock. Subai was surprised to find that the spirits of the octopuses seemed to be extraordinarily powerful. That's why they can tolerate weird babble and don't go mad too early. What surprised him the most was, as the octopuses grow, a message pops up every now and then. It is said that there is an inexplicable change in the depths of the universe, but it has no effect on the simulation. This puzzled him. What's the matter? Is it the negative influence of Xhulhu? That knowledge seems to come from the universe. Pressing doubt, Subai continued to watch. Middle of the second era, with the passage of time, the dark octopuses initially overcome flames and use stone tools, but their behavior is cruel and dark. From time to time, I will sacrifice my tribe, pray to you, and pray for the inexplicable existence of the universe. Using fire and creating stone tools, creation value plus 200. Subai was overjoyed when he saw that there was another creation value in his account. But it didn't take long for him to find out. The octopuses who lost their external threat began to kill each other, and they were at a loss. Beginning in the middle of the era, the dark octopus that dominated the entire world and could not find an enemy was under the control of nature, unable to hold back, and killed each other to strengthen itself. I remembered, and that talent for killing. Subai thought of something, and said something wrong in his heart. Sure enough, something went wrong in the simulation. Due to devouring each other, eating creatures of the same race, zombie viruses gather in the body, and the dark octopus mutates. Infected and corrosive mucus is added, The tentacles are disgusting and distorted, and the most proud spirit is also in chaos and gradually infected. Transform into the new zombie octopus. Playing off. Next, he was not surprised. Late of the Second Era, the zombie octopuses continue to kill each other for strength. The number of clansmen is getting smaller and smaller, and even other creatures are killed and swallowed. At the end of the era, 10 elite zombie octopuses fought in the final battle. One octopus king swallowed the remaining 9, stood on the corpses of the whole world, and mutated again. The king of octopus relies on the knowledge gained from raving and borrows the power of viruses to break the limit of biology and transform into the king of supernatural creatures, tentacle monsters, in a half-crazy half-reasonable situation. The first extraordinary creature is born, and the reward is plus 500 creation value. Subai's eyes widened, unexpectedly turning the corner. Give yourself such a big surprise. Extraordinary creature. Doesn't that mean that the king of tentacle monsters contains high energy? How many people can it hit? Great surprise. As Subai knows, extraordinary creatures are fundamentally different from ordinary creatures. Whether it is combat power, or potential, vitality. At least if the world of superpowers is awakened, there is a small chance of being born. It's not a creature that can be born now. This is completely achieved by chance and coincidence of the extreme root. Unreproducible. However, the creation of the entire world has been plundered by it, and I'm afraid it will be difficult in the future. Subai continued to watch. Early part of the Third Era, the invincible king of tentacle monsters, traveling through the land and the sea, falling into madness from time to time, but he didn't find any other kind of communication, or even creatures. It has an emotion called loneliness in its heart, so its spirit is more unstable, it is more and more maddened by the ravings in its mind, and it loses its remaining rationality. At the end of the Third Era, struggling for an era, the king of tentacle monsters self-mutilated, using blood to create a strange sacrificial rune. At the same time, a meteorite with a diameter of 50 meters floated from the universe and hit the land. The world was turned upside down, the vegetation was destroyed, and the king of tentacles was killed by the aftermath of the explosion. Tianhuan realm is destroyed, the simulation ends. Survival time for this simulation, 3 epochs. The land has grown to a maximum of 20 kilometers, and a total of 1,550 species have been born. No civilization was born, but an extraordinary creature mutated. Cooling period, 30 minutes. What's the situation? Subai is confused. Is this a mechanical chance? Could it be that at the end of the Third Era, there was a meteorite impact, and that's a fart? Subai, who had received a bumper harvest, broke down before he could laugh. It has been seen in textbooks long ago that the universe is dangerous. From time to time, meteorites, fragments of star beasts, fragments of battleships, etc. crash into the world, making the world master seek more blessings for himself. That's how unlucky you are. Only 3 epochs met. How is this going? Subai had a headache, and he didn't expect that it would be the ultimate crisis. You can't hide even if you hide. Please keep one of the options below. Exotic shrimp, zombie virus aggregates, carrying a large number of germs, blood algae, can infect the sea into a blood sea, throughput capacity, production of oxygen, conversion of meager low-level energy. The king of extraordinary creatures tentacles. Chapter 9 Magical Girl Buster, speculation on meteorites. This time the harvest is very rich. To Subai's surprise, the origin of the world has increased. The biggest contributor to the area's rapid growth was not the octopus monsters, but the inconspicuous blood algae. The colorful attracts attention again, Su Bai still resolutely said, keep the tentacle king. Joke. This is an extraordinary creature that cannot be replicated, and is only born when the entire world is assembled. Unbelievable. After the selection, the image data about the king of tentacle monsters appeared in front of him. It was a 10-meter long, full of tentacles, a marine and terrestrial amphibious creature with spikes, convex horns, and a black and yellow body. Just this posture, whoever sees it, doesn't say anything. Super boss. After reading its introduction, Su Bai laughed even more. Name, King of Tentacle Monsters, Level, Black Iron Elementary, Category, Extraordinary Creature, Unique, Talent Skills, Spiritual Trigger, Zombie Madness, Tentacle Strangulation, Magic Buster. Introduction. The creatures born by chance have been inexplicably raved about for many years, and have strong resistance to magic and spiritual power. They are the nemesis of magic to the strong. At the same time, relying on the zombie virus in the blood, it can also become mad, and its combat power is far superior to that of the same level. The potential is huge. The characteristics of magic resistance and mental resistance make Su Bai's eyes strange, always thinking of an indescribable magical girl nemesis. In all walks of life, magical civilization is definitely one of the most extensive civilizations. The King of Tentacles has great potential and is worth cultivating. The biological hierarchy of this world, from low to high, is dark iron, bronze, silver, gold, diamond, holy order, epic, legendary, mythical. Even the weakest dark iron creature can easily kill hundreds of ordinary creatures. The level is strict, and it is difficult to cross like a scourge. Therefore, the gap between the creator and ordinary people is like a world of difference. The stars in the sky also represent the world and the kingdom of God. But even such a strong human being was forced to be in the defensive stage by the outer gods. The reserve talent this time. Su Bai thought for a while, but chose Call of Xhalhu. Couldn't find a better one, it's the only option for now. 30 minutes cooling time. Su Bai's consciousness returned to his body, and when he opened his eyes again, a golden light that could not be concealed appeared in front of him. At the same time, the forces of the world floating in his mind strengthened his body. Before he knew it, the Tianyuan realm in Su Bai's mind had expanded tenfold. A full 10 kilometers of the world. The power fed back in one fell swoop allows Su Bai to break through the boundaries and reach the black iron level. Meditating on the world in his head, the corners of Su Bai's mouth upturned. I didn't expect that the power of feedback would be so great after 3 simulations. It can make up the foundation in one fell swoop. As long as you give me time and enough resources, it will be no problem to become a true god. Thinking of the playful eyes of classmates and teachers, Su Bai couldn't wait to see it. When they were in the college entrance examination, they were shocked when they saw their own world. Not only is the body strengthened, but also the spiritual power is strengthened. Su Bai took advantage of the cooling off period to read the information book. I didn't expect 10 lines at a glance, and I will never forget it. The learning ability has been greatly enhanced, and even the thinking about the next step is much clearer. At present, it has just reached the starting line with Xianghu, and there is still a long way to go. I heard that those rich second generations are born with massive resource cards and supercomputers. A team of tens of thousands of people helps him manage and deduce his route. There are also all kinds of high-level world masters. When they are their masters, they will personally guide them. I am still far from competing with them. The simulator will be your only chance. Su-bai made up his mind that no simulation could be wasted. At the same time, he opened his own world main panel, which is what everyone can condense after the awakening is successful. Creator, Su-bai, world, 10 kilometers of heaven and earth, first order tiny world, world creature, 1, tentacle monster king, personality, apprentice world lord, level, black iron level, sect, not opened, faith value, not enabled, civilization, not turned on. Not yet promoted to the official creator, many functions are gray. Only after passing the college entrance examination can it be officially recognized by human civilization. Even though he is currently at the black iron level, it seems that he can't beat the tentacle monsters under him. But if the power of the world is mobilized by borrowing the authority of the personality, it will be terrifying. Equivalent to a full blow in a 10-kilometer world. There are also strict divisions in the world class and human civilization. The first order tiny world, the second order medium-sized world, the third order large world, the fourth order super large world, and the fifth order world are reborn, and the world structure evolves directly from the circle of the sky to the shape of a planet. This represents a great increase in the ability of the world to circulate. The fallen world that Su-bai had seen before was estimated to be the fifth order. On the internet, he even saw that the top powerhouses of the Yang Kingdom have a world of galaxies. In this way, humans are still at a disadvantage. After thinking about it, he was terrified that he was not qualified to contact information such as outer gods and cosmic enemies before. Just wait for the college entrance examination in the future, and take a closer look. The biggest problem at present is the meteorite at the end of the third era, which is a natural disaster level, and I always feel very strange. Su-bai frowned. After evolving, the soul became stronger, and he gradually realized that something was wrong. Although the universe is dangerous, meteorites and debris fall into the world from time to time. But I wasn't so unlucky, I encountered it in such a short time. Is the meteorite related to those alien races? Su-bai muttered to himself. Make up your mind, simulate a fourth time, and go another route. See how long you can live as much as possible, and try to detect the crisis of the universe as much as possible. The 30-minute cooldown is spent studying. Su-bai looked at his phone, it was past 19 o'clock, and there was not much time left for himself. His consciousness sank back into the God simulator. Open 10 consecutive drawers. Chapter 10 Gu. Insects, the meteorite that did not come. The words flickered in front of him, and 10 talents emerged one after another. Su-bai glanced. It is a pity that the guaranteed orange talent has not yet appeared. In addition to Xulhu, there is another purple talent. Considering the extreme route he took last time, Su-bai wanted to change his mind this time. Can the meteorite crisis at the end of the third era be avoided? What difficulties will there be in the later period? Soon the 3 talents were selected, and this time he did not carry Crusu. But 3 new talents. Gu Dao development, purple equipped with this talent, creatures will take survival as the highest order, and try to avoid fighting and dying. Evolution will also go in this direction. Reproduction movement, blue more children and more births, which greatly promotes the reproduction of creatures and makes the number skyrocket. Self-entertainment, blue your people will not be afraid of loneliness and yours, mind plus 10, joy plus 10. The purpose of this simulation is clear. One word Gu. After the selection is complete, Please confirm whether it is equipped with cards and unique creatures. 1. D-level climate card, costs 1 creation value. 2. S grade Doomsday Calamity card, costs 100 creation value. 3. King of Tentacle Monsters of Extraordinary Creatures, costs 10 creation points. Advertisement. Subai thought for a while, and still carried the climate card. The other two didn't move. Ding. Please note that due to the expansion of the area, this simulation will cost 200 creation values. Subai felt a little distressed, but it was all worth it. If the area is expanded tenfold at the beginning, doesn't it mean that there will be 10 times more creatures? Start the simulation. Start the journey of creation. Heaven and earth were created, God Subai awakened, and Tianiwanji was born. Early part of the first era, you said there would be rain, so a heavy rain fell in the sky, and the heavy rain brought life to the ocean. The weather card is activated, and the talent reproduction movement takes effect. Middle of the first era, the primordial organisms such as the primordial fungus and clover were born on the bottom of the sea. They were happy to exercise, and the ocean became lively soon after. There are more creatures, and the Tianiwan realm continues to grow in size. Late period of the first era, a creature called sea spider, which is deeply rooted in the essence of Gudao. In order to prevent being hunted by the enemy, they have evolved to be useless and have no meat at all. On the ocean stage, other overlords, strange shrimps and devouring fishes emerged one after another, developing cautiously with each other and occasionally rubbing against each other. Early part of the second era, angiosperms and bryophytes first landed and grew recklessly on the earth. The ground is luscious and full of life. A close relative of the sea spider, which evolved into an amphibian, is also starting to land. This branch, called the bamboo worm spider, initially occupied the offshore area and flourished. Advertisement: the sea spiders that stay in the corners of the seabed go to different evolutionary paths. The talent is activated for self-entertainment, and the sea spiders are happy. +10. It's good if the area is large. So many creatures have been reproduced so quickly. Subai watched. Look at the results of different evolutionary routes. Middle of the second era, undersea animals landed one after another, and the land finally became a big stage. Bryophytes evolved into ferns. Makes absorption of sunlight and enhanced throughput. Tianiwanji evolves faster. The development of talent Gudao takes effect. Major arthropods and vertebrates are in careful competition. At the end of the second era, due to the development of ferns, the land of Tianiwanji was expanded to 15 kilometers, the oxygen content of the air increased, and silk threads were transformed into very little aura. So far, Tianiwanji has not grown to the peak of the simulation. Next may be due to talent reasons, and the creatures compete with extreme caution. It took a full epoch to compete for the final king. Late period of the third era, you observed that the Tianiwan realm has grown to 19 kilometers. At the same time, on the land, the bamboo insect spiders continue to evolve, growing wings and hard armor. This insect, called the two-pronged rhinoceros beetle, eventually became the overlord of the era and dominated the world. The losers of the competition went extinct in sequence, and a small part degenerated and returned to the ocean. Another evolutionary route, sea spiders have been dormant for an epoch, and still have not changed, but only filled a part of the vacant ecological niche in the ocean. 3 talents continue to activate, and the number of sea spiders exceeds 1 million, making them the #1 undersea tyrant. Happy +10, pleasure +10. The big one is coming. Sure enough, this time it is safe. Now we will see when the meteorite will come. At the end of the third era, you are waiting nervously, and there is no change in the universe. No mechanical chaos. The two-pronged rhinoceros beetle continues to evolve, and the strongest leader among them is called the unicorn. With the increase in oxygen content and aura, strength, speed, and defense are all perfect. Early stage of the fourth era, the two-forked rhinoceros beetles, under the leadership of the unicorn, consolidate their dominance. And the evolution within the group also began to diverge. Most part is getting bigger and bigger. Unicorn believes that big and tough are strong. As the two-pronged rhinoceros beetle became larger, a small niche was vacated by other insects. Middle of the fourth era, under the leadership of the unicorn, the Tianiwan realm entered a new era, which is recorded as Insect Era. Reward creation value plus 100, late fourth era, insects that cover the sky and the sun fill the sea, land and air, and gradually develop to their peak. The sea spider is still struggling in the ocean, not thinking about landing and further development. Next, it is more repetitive, and the insects, which are already invincible in the world, are caught in internal friction. For food, it also destroys the environment and devours plants. Subai watched, and before he knew it, the time had reached the sixth era. This is a time that has never been reached. Strange, it's been so long. The meteorite should have arrived even if it was late. Subai was puzzled. Weird.